So, students, I hope it is clear to you how the three sectors are interdependent. Interdependent. Now we will have a comparison of the three sectors. The various production activities in the primary, secondary, and tertiary sector produce a very large number of goods and services. Also, the three sectors have a large number of people working in them to produce these goods and services. So, therefore, the next step is to see how much goods and services are produced and how many people work in each sector. In an economy, there could be one or more sectors which are dominant in terms of total production and employment, while other sectors are relatively small in size. So, how do we count the various goods and services and know the total production in each sector? So, students, it is not possible to compare these three sectors. It will be very complicated process as all the sectors are producing so many things, so many services. So, what can be done? For this comparison, we need to find a common factor, and that is money. Every good and each services has a value. If we add up value and services of each sector, then we can get and we can compare the three sectors. Students, in your previous chapter, you have done many terms. And in those terms, the most important term that you have done is GDP. GDP is what? Gross Domestic Product. What is that? How do we get it? The sum of all goods and service produced in a country in an accounting year is called GDP. Now we know every good and service has a value. By calculating the value of goods and services in a sector can be used to compare the three sectors. Now the point is how to get this GDP. How to do this? Let us do it with an example. Students, suppose there is a farmer who grows the wheat and sells it at rupees 8 per kg. And now this wheat is purchased by a trader to convert this wheat into the flour. So now after grinding, this same trader is selling his flour at rupees 10 kg. And now this flour is purchased by a manufacturer. He adds sugar and other things. Let it be, it can be this coconut powder, it can be milk, it can be ghee, it can be so many other things to make the cookie. So he adds all these things to make the cookies and sells at rupees 60 kg. Now the question is how to get the GDP. Do you think we will add rupees 8 plus 10 and plus 60, 8 rupees of the farmer and 10 rupees of the grinder or the trader, and finally 60 rupees which are taken by the manufacturer for making the cookies? So in this way we will make the GDP? No. We only include the value of final goods and services, that is rupees 60. So the value of final goods and services produced in each sector during a particular year provides a total production of the sector for that year. Now you might be thinking, why are only final goods and services counted? In contrast to final goods, goods such as wheat and the wheat flour is this example are intermediate goods. Intermediate goods are used up in producing final goods and services. The value of final good already included the value of all the intermediate goods that are used in making the final good. Hence, the value of rupees 60 for the biscuit is final good. So, already includes the value of flour. Similarly, value of all other intermediate goods would have been included. So, to count the value of the flour and wheat separately is therefore not correct, because then we would counting the value of the same things a number of times, first as wheat, then as flour, and finally as biscuit. So in this way we cannot take it 3 times. We will only count the value of the final good. So the value of final good and the service produced in each sector during a particular year provides a total production of a sector for that year, and the sum of the production in the 3 sectors gives what is called the gross domestic product of a country. So it is the value of all final goods and services produced within a country during a particular year. For any country, GDP shows how big the country is. GDP is so important. Now students, a very important question that you need to understand is that how to get this GDP, or who calculates the GDP. This is a mammoth task. What is a mammoth task? Which is very great, big in terms of work. So the mammoth task of measuring GDP is undertaken by a central government ministry. This ministry, with the help of various government departments of all the Indian states and union territories, collects information relating to the total volume of goods and services and their prices, and then estimates the GDP. So in this way students, we can get the GDP. There is a graph also showing the GDP of the different years. This we will discuss later. Before this, I want to talk about one very important thing, that is a historical change in sectors. Students, there is a historical change in the sectors. It has been noted from the histories of many now developed countries that at initial stage, means in the beginning, only the primary sector was the most important sector of economic activity. Okay, as the methods of farming changed and agriculture sector began to prosper, it produced much more food than before, and many people could now take up other activities. So there were increasing number of craft persons and traders. Buying and selling activities increased many times. Besides, these were also transporters, administrators, army, etc. So at this stage, most of the goods produced were natural products from the primary sector, and most people were also employed in this sector. But over a long time, and especially because new methods of manufacturing were introduced, this green revolution came and all that. So people who had earlier worked on farms now began to work in factories in large numbers. People began to use many more goods that were produced in factories at cheap rates. Actually what happened, when earlier, like, the production was done in the farms, whatever we were producing, it was used because demand and supply was at par. But when green revolution came, it increased the production of the agriculture sector, so it was not possible to use, so surplus also started coming. So infrastructure was increased, and because of the development of the roads were constructed and connected to more and more cities, and ultimately increased the market system. Market started existing because earlier there was a barter system only. People were just taking the things from each other with the exchange of the things, so that is called the barter system. But now, since the things were not possible to consume, so it was needed to be stored, and supply and demand was obviously not according to the need, and it started the arrival of frozen food. Now we buy so many frozen products. Our needs are not only limited to the chapati and vegetables, but we need variety of you know things. We need biscuits, we need pizzas, we need um, so many things. In all the seasons we need everything. We are not ready to compromise for any product for the season change. So this is the reason that we started, start frozen products were started. So all these things were needing factories also. Naturally, these things need to be stored, these things need to be transformed from one area to the other area, transport from one area to the other area. So it has ultimately given the birth to the secondary and tertiary sector, because naturally when the factories came, it gave the birth to the secondary sector, and now alone factories were not sufficient. For that, labor was needed, transport was needed, and it increased so many services. So in this way, tertiary sector came. So here this is given a GDP. If you can see, we have a graph which is comparing the three sectors. Students, here they have shown a graph of 1973 and a graph of 2013 and 14. You see, here they have shown two different years, 10 years difference they have taken. uh, Sorry, not 10 years, it is more than that. So which is a what is the difference shown here? If you see, in 1973 and 74, they have shown with the colors. Blue color is for the primary sector, and red color for the secondary, and then olive color for the tertiary sector. But when we see the 2013 and 14 year, just see the growth. There is a drastic change between the year of 1973 and 2014. So this we have seen that how the tertiary sector has increased its production. Here also in the graph 2, they have shown the year of 1973 and 2013 14. It shows a difference of the GDP percentage. uh, in 73, there was hardly any means the contribution of the both primary and tertiary sector was almost equal. But now according to the 2013 and 14, just to see the hike in the GDP of the tertiary sector. So it has really contributed greatly to our Indian system. So that's why tertiary sector became very important. Let us briefly discuss the points how the tertiary sector became important. For any developing nation, basic services such as education, hospitals, courts are necessary, and government has to take responsibility for the provisions of these services. The development of primary and secondary sector will need services like trade, transportation, and storage. Hence, service sector will increase side by side. And as the income level rises, certain sections of people start demanding services like shopping, tourism, etc. So tertiary sector expanded. Students, earlier, like, people had very limited sources, limited income. So they were just happy and satisfied in their daily needs. They only wanted food and shelter. But now this is not only need. Now we need so many things. We have our shelter, but we need our shelter also in a very luxurious way. So it increased the importance of so many things. Earlier one TV was sufficient for one home, but now each and every room needs a different television. So this is the way the demands were increased. Earlier people were satisfied with the, three or four pairs of the clothes, but now for each and every occasion, for morning, for afternoon, for evening, we need different clothes. And people are not satisfied at home. At holidays we all plan to go outside. So ultimately this has, increased the importance. In this way, so many things were increased, and ultimately it has contributed in the tertiary sector. Over past decade, information and technology has grown drastically. Hence it resulted in increase of the tertiary sector. There was a time when we had only telegraphs or landlines, and afterwards a time came when we were only using like one mobile phone was for the family. And gradually the whole this mobile phone became so important that each and every family member started buying their own. And now we are not even satisfied sometimes with one mobile. People are having different mobile phones. One is for the professional use, one is for the home use, and so in this way it has grown drastically. So all these reasons became to contribute the tertiary sector's hike. In this way, the tertiary sector today is on the most important part. So this is all about your today's topic. Thank you so much, students. Whatever your doubts are, we will discuss in our next lecture. I know you are tired, so I will finish it here today. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.